Because most of the time, we hire for skill and skill only. That is not all you should be hiring for. If you're only hiring for skill and you get someone that have a skill but they're horrible as a team member, they come in late, they have all of these other issues, but they know how to do the job, you're going to have a headache on your hands. Y'all ready for freedom? Yeah. I'm ready to give you some freedom too. So I am excited to be here, Coach Becky, and I'm excited to share with you guys. One of the levers we're going to talk about is the leadership lever, and we're going to talk about training. And this is really about how you can build a team to work harder, smarter, and better. But first of all, let me say to those who have micro businesses or solopreneurs, don't check out on me, because this is for you too. This is for you too, because one thing that I know, sometimes we stay solo and micro longer than we should. And we should be building and adding people on, but we keep saying, I can't afford it, I can't do it, so we keep doing it. So, all right, I'm going to snatch a few edges, stomp on a few toes, but I'm going to hug you when I come down from here. I promise, I'm going to hug you. But let me just give you a little bit of background about who I am. This team that you see on this picture is one of the teams that I built. This team was all volunteers. I didn't pay none of them in money. They got paid, but it wasn't in money. But it was at a time when I needed to build something. I was working with corporations, and I wanted to go in strong, and I wanted to go in heavy. So I got a group of people together, called them all again, and I pitched them being volunteers and what I would do for them if they did this for me. I pitched 11 women, and 9 said, Becky, I got you on this. So for 3 years, they were like, whatever you need from me, we with you, we'll help you go through this process. A lot of times we're like, I can't get any help. I'm going to share with you some things that you can do. This is for people that you bring on that are employees, subcontractors, and volunteers. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You're going to treat them all the same way. Oh, that probably just messed you up right there. You're going to treat them all the same way, and I'll tell you more about that. So just to give you some background, Brandy talked a little bit about my experience, and I wanted to just share some of the experience as it relates to the topic that I'm talking about tonight. I spent 20 years in corporate America working in retail management. So I recruited nonstop, because in retail turnover can be very high. So I recruited nonstop. I was always promoted to the lowest performing market. And if I'm going in and I'm taking over a location that's the number 17 out of 17, it can't stay that way if I'm leading it. So I need to get it to number 1. Well, I did that 6 different times in corporate America, and I realized I had a skill and a gift to turn around businesses, to be able to go in, see some issues, figure out low-hanging fruit, and then work on our long-term strategy. I built 7 different teams inside of corporate America. I built teams for myself, and then I built a team when I took over a $20 million facilities management company. And going in, I'm looking at people, because I know for you to get where you need to do, you need people. You need the automations and people. And so I worked 13 years running my own company, working with multi-million-dollar business owners to help them to see how to strategize and put together their plan to help their people. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. You don't build a team for what you can do. You build a team for what you are meant to achieve. We too often think, I need to be able to do this. What are you meant to achieve? That's where you need to be focused on what you're building. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about 3 different areas. We're going to talk about role mapping. We're going to talk about where you are now and what you need to be able to grow. So we're going to talk about where you are now and what you need to grow. Once we talk about where you are now, who do you need to hire? And what should that hiring process look like? I'm going to share with you guys my formula for hiring the right people after 30 years of hiring people. And then the last thing is, how do we onboard them? We bring people aboard and we say, hey, if you already know this, go do it. And we're killing them. And so your turnover becomes high, and you're trying to figure out, why is it high? In your workbooks, page 56 and 57 is where we're going to be at. So if you got your workbook, pull your workbook out. There are some guidelines there. That's where you're going to take your notes and write down what we're talking about. So first, let's talk about role mapping. Role mapping is knowing who you need to succeed. So what I want you to do from a role mapping standpoint, I want you to think about what you have right now. Because growth begins when you trust others to do what you've mastered. I'm going to let that sit right there. Yeah, I'm going to let it sit right there. Because too often we don't trust others to do what we've mastered. We keep taking it back. So I want you to think about where you are right now. On that page, it's going to have, I want you to think about your current org chart. Who do you have right now? I don't care if it's subcontractors, volunteers, if it's employees. I want you to write down who you have on your team right now. Give you 30 seconds to think about that. Today we're doing CEO work. We're doing brain work because that's what CEOs do. We're going to have to think a little bit. Who do you have on your team right now? I see y'all working. Okay, I see you working. Now, by a show of hands, how many people have everyone they need right now on their team? Everything you need, do you have it right now? Raise your hand. Maybe it's the lights. I didn't see no hands go up. Exactly. We're going to talk about that. So I want you to go on to that next part, and I want you to build the future. You know what you have right now. What do you need? What should it look like? Now, I'm sharing with you an actual org chart of the company that I ran a couple of years ago. I had a board of directors that I reported to. When I went into the company, it was a company that I had been working with their leadership and their C-suite team for years. And they started courting me to take over the business, so the CEO was ready to retire. I said no for a while. Then I finally was like, well, I do know this company, this organization, and based on my work with them, I know I could grow the company. And so I took on the role, and when I got in the role, I automatically started looking at what? Wake up, wake up! I look at what? People. I started to look at the people. Now, one thing I know from working with different teams, everybody's not going to work with me. I know that. So if I take over a team, some will stay, some will not go. Some will go. Some will work harder for me than they did the person before. Some will want to get a paycheck and just come in, but I don't play that, so you can go home. So I know everybody is not going to stay, so I need to start being clear right away, who do I need on this team? So I created the org chart for where I wanted to be for us to move from $20 million to a $50 million business. I don't have the structure to do that. So I need to put the structure together. When you think about your business, where you are now, in your first, where you wrote on that first part of where you are now, if you want to grow it to whatever number you've talked about since you've been here, what does that need to look like? Because it should not look the same. There should be something else that you add to it. So what does it want to look like? Well, I did not have an executive assistant. I knew I needed one. So I put it on the org chart. I'm going to need to hire an executive assistant. There was a COO that was already there. I had an accounting firm that was a subcontractor that did our accounting. I had an HR person that I hired pretty quickly when I came aboard. I needed a business development person that I did not have, so I had to create a space for the business development person, and I had an administrative coordinator. I had one operations manager. We had 3 different lines of business: landscaping, litter and debris, and we had janitorial. The operations guy was running all of them, and he was running himself crazy. He was making mistake after mistake after mistake because he was trying to keep all of the stuff in his head, but they had him running it all. Well, I knew for us to be effective, I needed to put Ron in one line of business and hire 2 other operations managers to run the other lines of business. So when you think about your business, what do you need for your future to hit the goals that you want to hit? Write those down. Put those on that paper. Put those on that paper. Because once you get this, we're going to take you to what it needs to look like for you to be able to change the game. We get people on and we get frustrated with them very quickly because 9 times out of 10, they're the wrong people. Because most of the time, we hire for skill and skill only. That is not all you should be hiring for. If you're only hiring for skill and you get someone that have a skill, but they're horrible as a team member, they come in late, they have all of these other issues, but they know how to do the job, you're going to have a headache on your hand. So we're going to talk about what that needs to look like. So I have a 3-step system. It's tell, sell, bail. Tell, sell, bail. The first part of your interview should be about tell me. Tell me about a time. This is where you are asking questions. You are talking 20% of the time, and your applicant is talking 80% of the time. I had to learn to use this process with my subcontractors and my volunteers. But I used to just think, okay, it's a subcontractor. They got to have their own business. They're not an employee. They don't work for me. And I would have issues with performance. And so I was like, Becky, you know what it's supposed to look like, so you need to start having different conversations. So when I start having conversations with a contractor, like, okay, tell me about how you've worked with other clients in before. Tell me a time when you've had, so I started talking to them like I was talking to an employee. I got a better contractor. And the contractor understood what the expectation that I had if we were going to work together. Same thing with your employees. You need to be able to assess the past of your employees. So we called it SBO questions, situations, behavior, and outcome. Tell me about a time when you had a situation with a customer service issue. You had an irate customer. Tell me, what behaviors did you demonstrate when you saw that, and what was the outcome? Because when we're asking those questions, if you've had the experience, you can always remember what has transpired, right? But you got to make up a lie. And if you have to make it up, you got to think. And you're like, well, you know, I'm really good at customer service. Like, I will work hard. That didn't answer my question. Tell me the experience that you had. Paint the picture for me. When you don't get those direct answers, I move to the next one, but I check it. That's my red flag. Maybe they haven't had that experience, and that will show up in the business. So you need to be asking the tell questions. Those questions are for you to get the information that you need to really be able to help determine if that person has successfully handled what you need them to handle in your business.